Before we step into the boots, before we check the chambers, before we drop into the dark, I need you to understand something. This isn't a story about victory. It isn't about medals or parades or the clean lines of a mission debrief. It's about the quiet hours after the gunfire stops. It's about the names that don't fade when the dust settles. If you've ever carried the weight of someone else's tomorrow, if you've ever wondered what it truly costs to lead people into places where maps end and choices begin, then stay with me. Listen closely, because leadership isn't taught in classrooms. It's forged in the silence between heartbeats, in the echo of a radio call that goes unanswered, in a quiet promise we make to the ghosts we refuse to leave behind. Let's begin. The rain hits the hull like a handful of thrown gravel. I count the impacts out of habit. 3 to the left skid, 2 near the rear ramp, 1 sharp crack against the overhead that makes my teeth tighten. We're at 2,000 feet, descending into a valley the cartographers marked with nothing but contour lines and a warning symbol that looks suspiciously like a skull. The pilot's voice crackles through the intercom, flat and professional, telling us we're 2 minutes out. I run my thumb along the edge of my wrist plate. The metal is cold. The engraving is worn smooth from years of friction, but I know every groove. 17 names, 17 faces, 17 voices that still live in the space behind my ribs when the world goes quiet. Switch's voice cuts through the cabin noise, tight but controlled. Captain, I'm reading heavy EM interference. Drone feed is glitching. If we lose the satellite link on insertion, we're blind until we hit the tree line. I nod before I answer, because nodding keeps my hand steady. Copy, switch. We go dark on drop. Trust the compass. Trust the terrain. Trust each other. Rook shifts his weight against the bulkhead, the heavy barrel of his squad automatic weapon thumping softly against his thigh. Blind's fine, Cap. I've been shooting blind since basic. At least this time the dirt's trying to kill us instead of the drill sergeant. Doc lets out a low chuckle from the far bench, already checking his med kit for the 3rd time. You're not wrong, Sarge. Though I'd prefer the dirt not puncture an artery before I get the tourniquet on. Jinx, you get back there? Jinx's voice jumps half an octave. Yeah, I'm good. Just recalibrating the thermals. In case it's raining, which it is. So that's helpful. I turn my seat. Jinx is 19. He still folds his poncho with military precision every night, like he's afraid the fabric will forget how if he doesn't remind it. I don't tell him that's not how cloth works. I just reach over and tap his helmet with my knuckle. Breathe in, breathe out. You're not alone in the dark. You never are. He swallows, nods. His shoulders drop a fraction. The pilot's voice returns. 30 seconds. Ramp drops on my mark. Keep your lines tight. Watch the rotor wash. Godspeed. The cabin floods with cold air and the roar of open sky. I stand first. Always first. The ramp lowers, and the valley opens below us like a bruised mouth. Trees, rock, mud, no lights, no movement, just the rain and the weight of the mission. I step onto the ramp, feel the slick metal under my boots, and give the signal. We move. The drop is 300 meters into dense canopy. We hit the ground in a staggered roll, mud swallowing our boots instantly. I'm up first, weapon shouldered, scanning. Switch follows, already deploying the comms relay from her pack. Rook takes the left flank, moving with that deliberate, heavy grace that makes him look slower than he is until he's not. Doc and Jinx hold the rear, covering our 6. The tree line swallows us whole. Silence except for the rain and the sound of our own breathing. I raise my hand. Freeze. Switch's whisper comes through my earpiece, barely audible over the downpour. Captain, I'm picking up thermal signatures. 200 meters ahead. See contact. Stationary. Not military posture. Could be shepherds. Or could be bait, I think. I don't say it out loud. Instead, I signal the hand movement for staggered advance. Slow. Low. No chatter. We move through the undergrowth, branches scraping against our armor, mud sucking at our knees. Every step is a calculation. Every shadow is a question. I keep my eyes on the terrain, but my mind is already elsewhere. The rain sounds exactly like it did on the ridge near Karen. The same steady rhythm, the same cold, the same moment before the mortar hit. I don't let myself remember the sound. I let myself remember the weight. Private First Class Elias Cruz, 22, from Tucson. Love bad coffee and worse jazz. He died holding a position we didn't need to hold because I told him to, because I thought the intel was solid, because command said the ridge was clear. It wasn't. The intel was wrong. The ridge wasn't clear. And when the first round hit, Cruz didn't run. He stayed. He covered the retreat. He bought us 47 seconds. 47 seconds is a lifetime when you're bleeding out in the dirt. I still hear him sometimes. Not his voice. His rhythm. The way he tapped his rifle stock before checking his sight. The way he always hummed off-key when the comms went quiet. I carry it. All of it. Not as punishment. As compass. Switch's voice cuts through the memory. Captain, contacts are moving. They're forming a line. Not shepherds. I raise my fist. Hold. I drop to one knee, pull up my monocular. Through the rain and the gloom, I see them. 6 figures. Tactical gear. Local make. But the way they're spacing themselves. The way they're checking their corners. Not militia. Not farmers. Profesionals. And they're not patrolling. They're waiting. Rook's whisper comes through. They're dug in behind the rock fall. That's not a random position. That's a choke point. Someone knew we'd come down this valley. I don't answer immediately. I scan the tree line above them. I scan the slope behind us. I listen. The rain masks sound, but it doesn't mask tension. The air is too still. The birds are gone. That means they've been here a while. Or they brought something that scared them away. Switch, I say, kill all active emissions. Switch to dead air protocol. Jinx, give me your spare battery. Doc, prep the trauma kit. Not for us. For them. Doc's voice is calm. You're expecting casualties on our side, Cap? I'm expecting casualties on either side. I'd rather be ready for mine. Rook shifts his weight. So what's the play? We go around? Going around adds 2 clicks. We lose the window. Storm's moving and fast. If we don't hit the objective before the clouds drop below the ridge, we're pinned. And pin means dead. Jinx swallows hard. So we go through. I look at him. I don't tell him to be brave. I tell him what he needs to hear. We don't go through. We make them think we did. Switch, I need a false thermal signature. Can you patch into the old relay tower near the riverbed? Switch's fingers are already moving across her tablet. The tower's been dead for months. But if I reroute the backup capacitor, yeah, I can spoof a 6-man signature moving east. It'll last maybe 4 minutes before the system burns out. 4 minutes is all we need. Rook, you, and Jinx take the high ground. Lay down suppressive fire the second the spoof triggers. Not to kill, to draw. Make them think we're hitting from the ridge. Doc, you're with me. We slip through the drainage trench. Stay low. Stay quiet. Switch, you hold position. If they flank, you burn the spoof and fall back to the rally point. Understood? They answer in unison. Clear. I don't wait. I move. The trench is half collapsed, water rising to our shins, mud slick as oil. Doc follows, his breathing steady, his eyes scanning the walls for collapse points. I lead with my weapon low, my shoulders hunched, my mind cycling through contingencies. What if the spoof fails? What if they don't take the bait? What if they're already behind us? I hear the crack of the capacitor charging. Switch's voice, barely a whisper. Spoof live. 3, 2, 1. The valley erupts. Not with gunfire. With the whine of a thermal drone waking up. Then, a second later, the sharp crack of Rook's automatic echoing off the ridge. Jinx follows with precise, controlled bursts. The sound rolls through the trees like thunder. The 6 figures below us react instantly. They turn. They move toward the ridge. They leave the trench unguarded. I don't hesitate. I slide down the slope, Doc right behind me, water splashing, mud clinging to our knees. We hit the far side of the rock formation, press against the stone, and listen. The gunfire continues. Rook and Jinx are doing exactly what I asked. Holding position, drawing fire, not pushing, not committing, just noise and heat and the illusion of a full assault. I signal Doc to wait. I creep forward just enough to see past the edge of the rocks. The 6 figures are regrouping at the tree line, scanning the ridge. They're exposed. Their flank is open. And between them and the valley floor, half buried in the mud, is the reason we're here. The drone. Black casing. Military grade. Down 3 days ago. Crashed hard. But intact. The data drive is still sealed. Still breathing. Still waiting. I tap my earpiece. Rook. Jinx. Shift fire. Draw them left. Keep them looking up. I'm going for the payload. Copy, Cap. Rook's voice comes back, tight but steady. We'll keep him busy. Don't drop it. I don't plan to. I move. Low and fast. The mud tries to swallow me. I kick free. I keep my eyes on the drone. 10 meters. 8. 6. I hear boots behind me. Fast. Too fast. I drop. Roll. Raise my weapon. A figure emerges from the rain. Not 1 to 6. Older. Lean. Local fatigues. No insignia. But the way he moves, the way he holds his rifle. Trained. Professional. And his eyes lock onto mine before either of us fires. We don't. Not yet. He raises his hand. Not in surrender. In recognition. Captain Vance, he says. His accent is sharp. Educated. Familiar. You still lead from the front. My breath catches. I know that voice. I know that face. The rain washes the mud from his cheek, and I see the scar running from his temple to his jaw. A scar I saw close. A scar I tried to stitch myself. Corporal Vance? No, not Vance. Not anymore. Call it, I say. The name feels like ash in my mouth. You're supposed to be dead. I am, he says quietly. To them. To you. To the file they closed after the bridge collapsed. But the ground doesn't always keep what it swallows. Doc's voice crackles in my ear, tense. Captain, who is he? I don't answer. I keep my weapon leveled, but my finger isn't on the trigger. I'm looking at the man I trained, the man I pulled from a burning vehicle, the man I wrote a letter to his mother when the official report said Kia, the man I carried in my head for 3 years. You're with them now, I say, not as a question, as a statement. I'm with the people who stay, he says, the people who don't get to go home. You drop in for 3 hours. You leave. We stay. We bleed. We remember. I remember you, I say. I remember all of them. He nods. Slow. Sad. Then, I know you'll understand when I tell you to walk away. The drive in that drone isn't troop movements. It's a list. Names. Coordinates. Families. They're using it to track survivors. To hunt them. To erase them. If you take it, you paint a target on every person who ever wore that uniform in this valley. My chest tightens. The rain feels heavier. The ground feels colder. Rook's voice cuts through. Capítulo. We got movement. Flanking. They're splitting. 2 minutes, maybe less. You need to decide. I look at Khalid. I look at the drone. I look at the sky, darkening, clouds rolling down like a wall. I think of Cruz. I think of the 47 seconds. I think of the weight I carry. If I take it, I compromise lives, I say. If I leave it, I compromise the mission. If I destroy it, I compromise the truth. Khalid steps closer. Not threatening. Just close enough that I can see the rain on his lashes. There's no perfect choice, Captain. There's only the one that lets you sleep. Or the one that lets them live. I lower my weapon. Just an inch. Just enough. Doc, fall back to the rally point. Tell Rook and Jinx to disengage. We're leaving the payload. Doc's breath hitches. Cap, that's a direct order violation. I know. Do it anyway. He doesn't argue. He turns. Moves. Fast. Kala watches me. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's mine to make. I step back. I don't look at the drone. I look at him. Tell them to scatter. Tell them to go dark. I won't come back for you. I know, he says. That's why I'm still alive. I turn. I run. The mud tries to pull me down. I don't let it. The rain tries to blind me. I keep moving. My earpiece crackles. Switch's voice strained. Captain, spoof's dying. They're turning back. I've got company. Fall back, I say. Rally point Delta. Move. I hear her boots hit the mud. I hear Rook's voice calm, covering her. Jinx is breathing fast but steady. Doc's voice low. I'm clear. Falling back. I don't stop. I push through the trees. The valley closes behind me. The storm drops. The sky turns black. And I carry the weight of the choice with me. Not as regret, as responsibility. I don't know if it was right. I know it was mine. And that's enough. For now. The rain doesn't stop. It never does. But I keep walking. Because the names on my wrist plate don't ask for perfection. They ask for purpose. And I will give it to them. Every step. Every breath. Every quiet moment before the dark closes in. I don't look back. I don't need to. The memories walk with me. And they know the way. We hit the rally point 20 minutes later. Switch is already there, pulling her pack from the mud, her hands shaking, but her voice steady. Comms are fried. Satellites blind. We're on our own until the storm passes. Rook drops beside me, water streaming off his helmet. You left it. I nod. He doesn't argue. He just checks his weapon, wipes the mud from the sight, and says then we move smarter. Next time, we don't rely on tech. We rely on each other. Doc arrives last, breathing hard but moving with purpose. He drops his kit, pulls out a thermal blanket, and hands it to Jinx without a word. Jinx takes it, wraps it around his shoulders, doesn't speak, just nods. I sit against a rock, pull out my wrist plate, trace the grooves with my thumb. 17 names. Now, maybe a way to protect the ones still breathing. Not with fire, with silence, with choice. Switch crouches beside me. Capítulo. What do we tell command? I look up at the storm. I think of Khalid. I think of the list. I think of the families waiting in the dark. Tell them the mission failed, I say. Tell them the drone was compromised. Tell them we secured nothing. And tell them we're coming home. She swallows. Nods. Understood. Rook leans back against a tree. You know they'll reassign you for this. You know they'll question your judgment. I know. But judgment isn't measured in objectives taken. It's measured in lives spared. Even when it costs me everything. Doc's voice is quiet. You carried him. In your head. All this time. I don't answer with words. I answer with a look. With a nod. With a weight in my chest that doesn't crush me. It grounds me. Jinx finally speaks. His voice is small but clear. Did we do the right thing? I don't give him a clean answer. I give him a real one. I don't know. But we chose. And choosing is the first step to leading. And leading is the only way we get them home. Even when home isn't a place. It's a promise. The storm rolls over us. The wind howls. The rain doesn't let up. But we sit together, shoulders touching, breathing in sync. Not because we're safe, because we're together. And sometimes that's enough. I close my eyes. I listen to the rain. I hear the echoes, not of loss, of loyalty, of the men and women who trusted me enough to step into the dark. I carry them, not as ghosts, as guides. And when the sky finally clears, when the calms finally wake, when the orders finally come, I will stand. I will lead. I will choose again. Because that's what command is. Not glory. Not victory. Just a quiet, relentless act of carrying the weight and refusing to let it break you. Refusing to let it break them. The rain falls. We wait. We breathe. We remember. And we prepare for whatever comes next.